Welcome, Dupa Trio. Welcome to Olga Art Resort. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I should say welcome back because you guys have been here before.
Right.
Right now, where we sat, do we know the name of this spot?
It's the yoga deck for us, for me.
For you, yeah, and for many other guests too. This is called Hoba Deck. So right now we just sat here. It's a bit hot. I hope we
Quite.
don't. Yeah. I hope we don't like all sweat out by the end of this episode.
It's a nice breeze from the ocean.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So this is a space where we've actually done quite a lot. Not necessarily events and stuff, but this is a place where lots of creative people on this island have come to practice. Like I've come and I've sang songs here. People have practiced their flow arts here. Gustavo really loved this spot when he was here. So this is a special spot, and I figured this is a good one.
We also have on our YouTube some videos that we did there.
Oh,
Sunset
right
Beach.
over there. Yeah. Guys, go check out Dupa Trio on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a good plug. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to start out with is maybe just a little bit of an introduction about all of you. Yeah. So who wants to go first? I know this is a weird. Okay.
Yeah, I can
Alex.
start. I can start. So I come originally from Cyprus.
Mm.
I started playing music when I was around 6.
Yeah.
Getting jealous of my dad and my aunt jamming on the piano, wanting also me to play piano. So I started playing classical piano in the beginning, and then my interest got into like rock guitar, metal, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses. I wanted to be Slash, when I was
I
young.
feel like everybody.
You also had the long hair.
Yeah, I had crazy long hair.
I could not imagine you with long hair.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I had, is this kind of every guitar player's kind of face,
Yeah.
kind of anarchism,
Yeah.
long hair, rock and roll,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
type
yeah.
of vibe.
Mhm.
And then of course I cut my hair, and and then when I was like 15, 16, I think around that time I started getting into jazz guitar also because of my teacher I went to the music high school in my city, and I started getting into jazz guitar, and then I was practicing, and then I got accepted to the Conservatory of Amsterdam, where we all met there.
So all of you met at the conservatory.
Yeah,
Okay.
I moved to Holland. We all met in the Conservatory of Amsterdam, and we've been playing together more or less 3 years, something like this. Yeah,
I think that's an interesting point, right? Because one of the bands that I really love is called Lake Street Dive. Have you guys heard about this band?
No.
It's a cool band, right? They've got a double bass player, and then they have a vocalist, and the guitar player also plays a trumpet, right? And then they have a drummer, and now they have a keyboardist as well. But everybody except the keyboardist, all of them also met at uni, and I think there's something distinctive about bands that form at uni, right? And I know a little bit just from having talked to all of you guys over the last couple of days, that you're all kind of studying music as well at an academic level, even now,
Right.
even having formed this group to play all of these shows and travel around the world and all of this kind of stuff, right? So and then we can get to talking about that in a little bit. We're not quite
For
done
sure.
with the introductions yet. Yeah. And then we have Anna. Yeah, you play bass.
Yeah, I play bass. I'm from Siberia.
What else do you play? What else do you play?
I started as classical violinist, and it felt for me like I've been sent to army, because
really?
violin, it's something else. It's like a very specific type of to torture your child.
Wow.
Very specific.
Very
Violin,
specific.
violence.
Yes. No
Violin,
more violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that from many people who I know who play the violin as well. They say in the early years of playing violin, you just sound bad.
It's
Yeah,
not just
horrible.
bad. It's horrifying.
It's
It's
horrifying,
like
yeah.
a ghost. Like
Wow.
being grated on a grater to the goat salad.
Especially to people listening, beginner violinist practice.
It was me.
Or even people
mostly.
kind of forced to listen just because they're your neighbors or
Yeah,
your
exactly.
parents.
Yeah,
exactly.
my
They're in the
parents.
next
Oh,
practice
yeah.
room to you.
But
Yeah.
then I discovered that my mom used to celebrate something. It was a lot of girls from the work, and I was playing violin. They were crying
Wow.
because it was it was so sweet, and a little girl like.
Oh,
Do you
wow.
know
That's
this?
very cute.
There's a joke about this guy on SpongeBob that said like, "Oh, really?" And he's like play the smallest violin in the world, like.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Yeah, then I went to college. I hated it even more, I think. I thought I will never do music again.
Yeah.
Then I became a chef.
Oh, you
And then I became a musician again because I'm never going to be a chef. I'm tired of it. I was kind of, I'm getting tired quite fast.
Yeah.
Then I went to conservatorium and started to play bass. When I started to play bass, I settled down.
Was that the first instrument that you very, very seriously did because you wanted to do it? Is that the first instrument that you kind of fell in love with?
Yeah, I fell in love with many instruments. I played a bit of guitar, a bit of piano. I sang, but when I found a double bass, this was pure. Like this was.
And specifically the
One
double
and
bass as
only.
well.
Yeah. The double bass.
Okay, and so now I'm identifying little things that we can come back to and talk, right? And so on with the introductions. The last bit.
Yes.
Noam.
I'm Noam. I play the
Yes.
trumpet.
Yes.
Originally from Austria, and I live in Amsterdam for the past 5 years. What else should I say? Very fortunate to be in Maldives second time,
Yeah.
and now hopefully coming back again next year. For us, we're trying to make it a habit. And today I rode a jet ski, which was cool, first time for me. Yeah. What else should I say? My inspiration.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trumpet players I really love. We are all my brothers. We all play horn instruments. So my big brother plays the trombone. Then the one that follows him plays sax, and then I play trumpet, and the small one that also plays sax. So it kind of was in the family. Everybody kind of envied each other to start a new instrument. I was the only one who took it kind of more seriously to practice, make a career out of it. And yeah, I've been living in Amsterdam for the past 5 years, and I really recommend to people, not specifically to move to Amsterdam, just to move out of wherever they are, just in order to expand their horizon, learn new things, meet new people, find new things that they don't know, and for sure, and also just like put themselves in positions where they're gonna learn new things about themselves just by trying.
Yeah. I
Right.
think, like, one of the things that even I have felt in trying to do that has been, like, there is a fear, right? And this is why there is the comfort zone and then this need to step out of the comfort zone, right? What would you say to somebody maybe in that kind of a position, right? Because we all understand, I'm sure even the person who's scared understands the benefits of doing the new thing and going to the new place and learning the thing that you don't know, right? But we're so terrified sometimes of trying that. And so maybe can anybody offer a little bit of insight into why we may feel like that, or how to kind of switch off that voice and just go, right? Just step out.
More terrified to stay in one place.
Ah, okay.
That's why I would move even more somewhere, because I feel maybe I'm a bit of a gypsy.
Okay.
I really like to go somewhere else because I can always come back and see how far I went.
Yeah, that's true.
You're pretty far away from Siberia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys dreading the long flight back tomorrow?
It's actually we're
not talking about it. We're not talking about it.
it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I like flying. I like long flights. You can see movies. I'm going to do my taxes.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna be very nice.
2/3 of Dupa Trio feeling all right about leaving.
Yeah.
I don't feel alright about
Not
it.
about leaving. I would stay until at least the end of the winter here, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You said that to me the other day.
Yeah.
Didn't you? Yeah.
I'm not looking forward for the winter.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
to go from this to
It's
the winter,
beautiful.
like
This is
To snow. Yeah.
You know, I
Snow.
have the feeling that some people here, maybe they might complain, oh, we stay on the same island, we don't do much, Malé is overcrowded. I heard a lot of things about Maldives, but I do think people are here in general are more happy than most of the people I know elsewhere. They fail to realize it because they don't have the perspective, for example, to learn it. So just in terms of why to move out and do something like that, imagine someone from here move out, see other things. They say like, actually, my life there is much more nicer than I imagine or thought it is,
Yeah.
compared to all the things that I learn and know now.
And then that could go back to what you were saying about you can always go back to places.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
have to
go
kind
back.
of go somewhere new to find a place to come back to.
And it's
Mhm.
important to go like somewhere and really go there, meet the people, see the culture, even if you go as a trip, you know, not go there and just do what touristic things, you know, go meet the people, see the cultures, how they behave, go to some concert, you know, experience the travel.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, have you guys been able to do a lot of traveling as a band? Would you say?
Yeah. We've been to a lot of, I would say, most countries in Europe that are close to the Netherlands. I have one funny story maybe about the traveling situation that we had. We went back to Vienna. Not back, but we had a gig in Vienna, the Hofburg Palace, which is one of the most big palaces in the country, maybe in Europe.
Okay.
Very beautiful, very beautiful.
Crazy palace. And
Mind blowing.
we had a sound check. There was like 10 event managers, everybody with like this headset, crazy uptight schedule, like 2004 the bands eat until 2012, and then
Wow.
like this type of very crazy specific schedule. Just came from the airport, and the event manager flew us to the venue. We get there, we open our instrument, we do our sound check, and then this was like my face, because then I forgot the mouthpiece to my trumpet at home
Oh no.
before coming here. And then there's like 3 event managers like, okay guys, this is soundcheck time. We want to hear each one of the instruments, make sure it sounds good, make sure it's also the clients want to see that it's cool, It was like 1, 2, 3, yeah, it works. It works. And then Alexandros, and he was like,
Me, I'm trying to
nice
make.
reverb. Nice reverb, I like it.
Let me check the sound, check the settings,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
get the
It's
guitar
finished.
playing,
It's
you know?
finished.
And Noam look at me like, bro, let's go.
Let's go. Soundcheck is done.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay. So I went really quick. We had like 2 hours. I was running outside, and I bought a trumpet mouthpiece. I still play this mouthpiece actually today, 2 years later. So sometimes stuff like that happens.
I can definitely relate to dealing with mishaps on stage, right? Like
Yeah.
so many times, before I came and settled down here at Olga and started working here, I used to come here to play gigs as well, which meant I also was going to lots of other resorts to play gigs. And because I'm a keyboardist, obviously I have to take my big keyboard, and then I have to take my keyboard stand and all of this stuff. And so many times I have played gigs with random like metal things that I found that I use as the pivot, like the stopping point of my stand, right? Because like normally with the
We know it
stands
also.
you have stuff that like you can put through and then it holds the whole thing in place.
Mhm.
And I think in my almost three and a half years of playing music at resorts, I have played only a handful of gigs with the actually proper piece of equipment for that keyboard stand. So at gigs, I'm always running around like trying to find some manager being like, hey, do you have an Allen key or like a screwdriver or something?
Mhm.
Right. But I think the reason that we all kind of put up with it, with these like little mishaps, is because, you know, at the end of the day, it's music. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's also what you're being paid for, right? Which now I think is a good kind of segue point. That's on the back for me for that segue. But this is a good segue point to talk about exactly that. How do you balance in a band, or even as solo musicians, how do you balance what you play for your enjoyment, for your growth, for your musicianship, versus what you play because you're being paid and you have to play X, Y, and Z?
I think like how I feel, I always try to enjoy it as much as I can, even if it's hard, even no one is listening. Like even some shit is happening.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not enjoying it, no one will enjoy it. I think it's hard to actually distinguish those two. I think it's always, for me, it's quite the same. Play for people and enjoy from it.
Okay.
For me, it's not a big difference, I think.
Yeah, for me, I totally agree with Anna. Like, I'm always trying to, doesn't matter the situation, the place, always try to make music and do the best to serve the music that you're playing, and try to enjoy it as much as you can. But there is, for me, like, I would say artistically fulfilled I feel always more when I'm playing my own music
Yeah.
that I composed. I put a lot of hours in, and then I perform it to people who are listening. You know, this is maybe how you feel in terms of artistic fulfillment, but it doesn't matter the gig and the music. I always try to like enjoy it as much as I can and do the best as I can always do. You know, even when sometimes there is always could be some problems arising, like anything you do in life, there can be like you don't feel good or you don't feel this, the other, but always try to make the best out of every situation.
Yeah, that's a kind of a good approach, I would say.
For me, I think that there is a lot of key differences, and we talked about it a bit, between the industry of entertainment, industry of music, and it's two somewhat different industries. When we are here at the resort, we have a very clear goal. We need to make music that people can relate to, can enjoy, can have fun to, maybe make some videos. That's our job, right? So I feel like we need to put our hat on that fits to this role when we're doing this. But there's other situations, because we're all professional musicians and we encounter different situations. Coming back, I'm going to play on a DJ gig for 5,000 people. I should not put the same hat on or whatever. It's not the same performance out of me. And when I'm performing with my own jazz quintet, Anna is doing like this big competition, one of the best competitions maybe in Europe. That if she wins, she make a lot of money and she make a crazy album. Good luck for Anna. So of course, whatever performance you're going to put out there is, it's different, because it's her music. She put a lot of effort into how she wants to present it, how she wants it to sound, how she wants it to look like. And it's also less about what people gonna appreciate or think about it, more about how she want it to be, you know? And maybe in scenario like this, when we play in a resort, there is some guidelines of the type of performance that are expected from us. So I think a professional musician should know how to suit himself to the scenario that he's at, and not just impose one or the other on the wrong places,
Right.
I mean, you still can kind of cross in terms of what you do musically, you can still kind of cross between everything that you do, I think.
Of course, part of your nature. If you're an artist and you're a creator, when you do a function gig, it's also going to be unique. There is also this guitarist I like Revi in Amsterdam. This guy, whatever he play, any function gig, is somehow he reinvents new songs all the time, and it's always fascinating to see. So it's very much possible to create a function gig in a very, very musical way, and it's on us to deliver on that whenever we do that.
Well said, honestly, all of you. And I would like to point out this one moment that I had with you guys, where I think I was playing at Kakada, just this restaurant here, and you played with me, right? You played bass. I didn't even have a bass set up because obviously I was playing a solo gig, and then you said, hey, we should play, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break. We ran to the studio, got all this stuff, and we played, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I liked about that was when you wanted to play, I thought, okay, in my head I was going through the kinds of stuff that maybe would fit what you guys were playing. But in that moment, you were not the bassist for Dupa Trio, right? You were just a bassist.
Yeah.
And you were just Anna. And you kind of just came in and you fit right into what I was doing. And so I didn't really have to think about, what are the songs that I'm going to play? Okay, I can just play the songs that I'm playing, and you would just join it into it, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's also part, the reason that can happen is also part of what makes this place special. Is how many bands did you play with? How many musical acts did you play with this time since you've been at Olga? You came to play with Dupa Trio. Yes. But how many people?
Probably all of them that wanted me to play with, I was keen to play with, because and every one of them got something different out of me, I think.
Yeah.
And it also shows in the performance. So it's always, for me, that's the fun about living in Amsterdam. That's like an ecosystem. To me, Amsterdam is like New York in Europe, in a way, because there's all the different culture, all different musicians from all around the world. And you can really find everything, and it's a small place. And it's very interesting. So from the same approach, being here and seeing all the different musicians coming here performing with different inspiration on their mind and what got them to play the way they play, it's very interesting to play with them, see what you get from yourself while playing with people that have different values and aspiration when it comes to music.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a good example of just that would be for you guys as a band is also, and then the two of you, especially Alex and Noam, when you all went in to play with Sandpaper after they got delayed here. So they played a gig, and then we all watched it and had a good time. And then the next day, their transfer got moved. So then they had 6 something hours to stay, and then you guys had a whole big jam, right?
I just want to say, for me, one of the things I experienced here on the island, there's so many people that are so crazy talented, and I appreciate them even more just because they didn't have no one to teach them. So that somehow they're that much talented that they figure it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
makes them like if you put them with the right people to teach them whatever, then it would be even more crazy. For example, the singer from Sandpaper is an amazing singer. Amazing. When he did he did some Stevie Wonders, he sang Overjoyed.
Overjoyed, yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Amazing. But not only him, also there was probably all of the singers we've seen here were super talented. And last year we met also Niall, I think that's his name.
Yes, Niall,
pianist.
he's from Nile Quartet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
Amazing, super unique way of playing jazz,
Yeah.
just because he learned it by himself.
I think it's also very important and very nice and inspiring to see that they understand where they're coming from Maldives, and they don't have so many opportunities as people maybe in the West who can see everybody, can message some guy who's coming play, and they just saw us coming from Europe, and they were so intrigued and so passionate to learn. You know, like they didn't have any ego or anything. They were just open to just learn.
Yeah.
You know, like I think this is very important. Is the only way to grow, especially with music. Once you understand that this is never gonna finish.
Yeah.
You know, like we are all students, and we all have the mindset of the students. We are constantly learning.
Yeah.
Nice to see.
Have any of you experienced anything called the gap? Right. This is something that I came across on some random YouTube rabbit hole, I'm sure. But the idea basically is that people always kind of exist in the gap, right? The gap between what you can play, your skill level, and then the thing and your taste.
The gap is for everyone. Everybody feels it. It's not only you.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my head. I'm never going to be as good as my perception of understanding of where I want to be. You know,
Right.
and it's fair. Okay, it's okay. And I went to see a concert from Tony Glausi, which is probably one of the best trumpet players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Genius, complete musical genius. The band was performing outside of this world. Is the Sean Mason band quartet in the Beam House. We've seen it. I don't know. Were you there? No, but Alex, you were there. And then I went to talk to the band members, and they said, I said, guys, how did you play so tight and so together, so creative and so virtuosically? One thing that Tony was like, this was horrible, one of my most horrible concerts. I was thinking about quitting, but I'm telling you, this was incredible, incredible. And then they said, you know, I asked them, how are you so together, playing so together? It's not related, but I think that is such a crazy thing, so I have to share it. And they said, yeah, actually, all the songs we played tonight, we never performed them in that key before. And every night that we perform all the songs of the repertoire in a different key, and we don't know which key we're going to perform it that night.
I think you're kind of always in the gap. And it's also different your perception of what sometimes of how you play and what you can play to what you actually can play. So this can be very like you can get, you know, like to break your bubble once you are in the studio and things of how you actually sound versus what you actually sound in your head. So that's why I think like also going to studio and recording yourself and listening back to the recordings is very important to understand, you know, and then you hear what you actually, okay, this I didn't do it good, you know, I need to work on this, maybe I need to work on that. And I think having a like practicing for sure songs that are out of your comfort zone and checking, okay, maybe I need to practice this, you know, and for sure it's very important to like have like if you have like a structure practice of what you want to achieve or what your goals are, and then making a plan to how you can achieve those goals. I think it's a nice way to at least move to the next gap. You know, you get out of one gap to the next gap.
You are very right, Alex, that you can kind of, the goal may be to just jump from gap to gap, right? Conquer one gap and then move to the next one. I think we may be coming up short on time a little bit, but just before we do you guys have anything you would like to say just about your experience of being here, about playing here, or about just playing together for so long?
For me, it's first of all, thanks for having us here, and we are enjoying every second of being here at Toaga. I think this is one of the most magical places I've ever been in my life. I think when we're talking about playing together as a band, maybe it's interesting because we've been playing for a while now, and we really feel each other. So let's say if someone has a bad day, there's not a lot of hiding on the bandstand when there's a performance. It's like when we really feel it. If I'm sick, or Anna is sick, or someone is upset, someone has a bad day, whatever. Especially if you play jazz, it's kind of music that comes from the moment.
Yeah.
We try to make it from the moment, and what drives jazz actually is other people playing it with you. And
For me, it's like last hours of sun,
Yeah.
and I had amazing time here.
Mm-hmm.
And also here in this deck, I also discovered some bowls for meditation. And I was here
Yeah.
alone in the
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and I was doing.
then the ghost
the
came.
sound healing bowls from
Yes.
Hoba Spa. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my kind of a place for myself,
Yeah.
and I really don't want to leave. That's the thing. I don't even know what to say. Please
I
help me
think
with
you've
it.
said. I think you've said it. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also for me, thank you for having us so much. It was very, like Noam said, very magical place, very nice experience. Also to relax and reflect,
And create.
as well,
And
for
create.
sure. And yeah, it's been great also to play with the band, a few concerts here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice to find the balance between practicing and playing with people. And if you have to choose one or the other, for sure playing with people and trying to listen.
Maybe tip
and
about
interact.
how do you approach playing with people?
Just find people that you like, that you're friends with, that they're better than you, for sure.
Mm.
And try to persuade them, play together, listen what they have to say, just listen to them, and just try to jam out some songs and see if you can find some common ground, and just play what you like also,
Yeah.
for sure.
Thank you so very much. Not only for making time for this podcast episode, but also just all of the conversations we've all had individually together over the last few weeks, right?
Weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Feels like day.
Thank you for
One
coming.
day.
And
Thank you.
Thank you for playing all these shows and also jamming with all the people here. Thank you for jamming with me. That's it. This is the episode.
See you
So,
2026.
Cheers. Happy New Year.
Bye.